morning, everyone. Myself, Gunturu Srinivas, HIMT faculty and Vice Principal of Voyage HIMT. So today I'll be dealing with the topic green ship and will be highlighting the key points. So the learning objectives, motto of green ship, what is green ship, and United Nations IMO's initiative role towards reduction of greenhouse gases. IMO work to address greenhouse gas emission from ships. Global project supporting the IMO greenhouse gas strategy and green ship of the future. Understanding greenhouse gases, black carbon, and IMO action plan, pathway for reduction of greenhouse gas emissions. Monitoring emission targets, greenhouse effect solution, and then finally will be the adaptation in your green ship part 1. So what is the motto of green ship? Is towards the cleaner trends in maritime and green technology in the maritime industry and shipping. The goal and the ambition is to make ships entirely CO2 neutral before 2100. And challenges faced by the ship owners. So ship owners around the world face the choice how to adapt to the requirements and achieve the IMO's initial strategy regarding reduction of greenhouse gas emissions and carbon intensity. That is by cutting greenhouse gas emissions from global in half by the year 2050. So what is green ship? The green ship or eco ship means a ship that has reduced greenhouse gas emissions through the development of technologies related to fuel savings and alternate fuels, that is future marine fuels. Green ship is a name given to any seagoing vessel that contributes towards improving the present environmental condition in some way. Green ship technology adopts procedures to decrease emissions, consume less energy, and be more efficient. United Nations and IMO's initiative role towards reduction of greenhouse gas emissions. So virtually every sector of the global company, right from the manufacturing to the agriculture and to transportation, including shipping industry, to the power production, they all contribute greenhouse gases to the atmosphere. So all of them must evolve away from fossil fuels in order to avoid the worst effects of the climate change. Countries around the world acknowledge this reality with the Paris Agreement, which was held in the year 2015. 20 countries, that is, these 20 countries are the developed countries. 20 countries are responsible for at least 3/4 of the world's greenhouse gas emissions. Emissions of greenhouse gases from the shipping industry are not regulated by the Kyoto Protocol. The Paris Agreement on climate change was agreed in 2015 by the parties to the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, shortly known as UNFCCC, which has entered in the force 2016. As I have told you here, emissions of greenhouse gases from the shipping industry are not regulated by the Kyoto Protocol. So it was basically the prime responsibility of the IMO in order to monitor and control, to take control measures regarding reduction of greenhouse gases from the shipping industry. The aim of Paris Agreement is to strengthen the global response to the threat of climate change. The Paris Agreement does not include climate change related to shipping industry, in which case was taken care by International Maritime Organization, which is again a part of the United Nations. It's a specialized agencies of United Nations. Kyoto Protocol operates the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change by committing industrialized countries and economics in transition to limit and reduce greenhouse gas emissions. The Kyoto Protocol is based on the principles and provisions of the convention. It only binds developed countries under the principle of common but differentiated responsibility and respective capabilities. But it recognizes for the current high levels of greenhouse gas emissions in the atmosphere. One important point of Kyoto Protocol was the establishment of flexible market mechanism, which are based on trade of emission permits. However, the protocol also offers an additional means to meet their targets by the way of 3 market-based mechanisms. Now, shortly we can spell it as a MBM, and these namely are: number 1, international trading emissions; number 2, clean development mechanisms; and the number 3 is joint implementation. So these market-based mechanisms ideally encourage greenhouse gas abatement, that is the reduction, to start where it is cost effective. The prime responsibility of IMO, the International Maritime Organization, is to develop the mechanism needed for the reduction of greenhouse gas emissions, which have been delegated to the IMO. And with reference to the reduction of greenhouse gas emissions, IMO is committed to responding to the growing climate crisis and to ensure that the shipping industry contributes towards global reduction of greenhouse gas emissions as well as reduction of carbon intensity. So IMO work to address greenhouse gas emissions from ship. International Maritime Organization, the motto of IMO: safe, secure, and efficient shipping on cleaner oceans. It's a specialized agency of the United Nations, and the IMO Convention being adopted in the year 1948 and entered into force 1958. At present, 174 member states, 3 associate members, 81 consultative organizations, and 64 IGOs. The main objective is to develop and maintain a comprehensive regulatory framework for international shipping on safety, environmental, particularly marine environment, legal matters, technical cooperation, security, and the efficiency of shipping. And Marine Environment Protection Committee, shortly named as MEPC, which is the main committee of the IMO and IMO body, which is responsible for MARPOL, ballast water management conventions, and etc. Way back in the year 1997, through the Air Pollution Conference, the IMO has adopted through the Resolution 8 regarding CO2 emissions from ships. And the IMO resolution, IMO policies and practices related to the reduction of greenhouse gas emissions from ships was adopted by the Assembly through the 23rd session in the year 2003. And MARPOL Annex 6, so where the reduction of greenhouse gas emissions, the MARPOL Annex 6 is one of the important part of it. And in that MARPOL Annex 6, emissions control, and these are ozone depleting substances, SOx, sulfur oxide, NOx, nitric oxide, and VOCs are volatile organic compounds. Mandatory energy efficiency regulations. It's a chapter 4 of the MARPOL Annex 6, new chapter 4, which has been adopted in the year 2011 and entered into force 2013 for all vessels of 400 gross tonnage and above. And these are the two tools, EEDI and SEEMP. EEDI, basically known as Energy Efficiency Design Index for new vessels, and SEMP, Shipboard Energy Efficient Management Plan for the existing vessels, and collection and reporting of ship fuel consumption data. IMO has adopted through the assembly in the year 2017 regarding response to climate change and global project supporting the IMO initial strategy regarding greenhouse gas emissions are: number one, the Global Maritime Energy Efficiency Project, shortly known as Global MEEP. And the number two is the Global Industry Alliance to support low carbon shipping. Shortly, we can spell it as GIA. Third one, the Global Maritime Technology Cooperation Centres Network Project, GMN. And the fourth one, Green Voyage 2050 Project. And the final and fifth one is Multi-donor Trust Fund on Greenhouse Gases, shortly known as Greenhouse Gases Trust Fund. So the first project supporting the IMO work towards the reduction of the greenhouse gases is the Global Maritime Energy Efficiency Partnership project, supporting and implementation of energy efficiency measures for shipping, thereby reducing greenhouse gas emissions from the ships. It was launched in 2015 in collaboration with the Global Environmental Facility and the United Nations Development Program. Second, the Global Industry Alliance to support low carbon shipping was launched in 2017 under the auspices of the Global Maritime Energy Efficiency Project, which is identifying and developing solutions that can help overcome barriers to the uptake of energy efficiency technologies and operational measures in shipping sector. Third one, the Global Maritime Technology Cooperation Centres Network, GMN project, funded by the European Union, has established a network of 5 maritime cooperation centers, shortly known as MTCCS. And these 5 maritime cooperation centers are Africa, Asia, Caribbean, Latin America, and the Pacific, have been focusing their efforts since 2018 to help countries develop national maritime energy efficiency policies and measures and promote the uptake of low carbon technology and operation in maritime transport, and establish voluntary pilot data collection and reporting systems. Fourth one is the Green Voyage 2050 project, for collaboration between IMO, the International Maritime Organization, and the Government of Norway. The project was launched in 2019, will basically initiate and promote global efforts to demonstrate and test technical solutions for reducing such emissions, as well as enhancing knowledge and information to support the IMO greenhouse gas reduction strategy. And the final and the fifth one is Multi-donor Trust Fund on Greenhouse Gases. IMO agreed in May 2019 to establish a voluntary multi-donor trust fund to provide a dedicated source of financial support for technical cooperation and capacity building activities to support the implementation of the IMO strategy on reduction of greenhouse gas emissions from ship. Green ship of the future is a partnership a joint initiative in which companies across the Danish Maritime Cluster join forces to develop and test environmental and climate-friendly technologies that increase energy efficiency and reduce operational cost. So not only the operational cost, even there will be savings in the energy. So when there are savings in the energy, so automatically the carbon dioxide emissions will be reduced. Despite being a country of just 5 million, the green ship of the future partner companies are committed to minimize environmental impact and joining forces that seek solutions to the issues of the climate change. Green ship of the future, shortly known as GSF, is an independent network for ship owners, OEMs, suppliers, and classification societies, but also organizations and authorities, as well as research and educational institutions. GFS is financed and controlled by the members. Green Ship of the Future is an independent, non-profit organization driven and financed by the members. Green Ship of the Future explore the road towards emission-free maritime transport by promoting the use of existing energy efficiency test and by exploring the use of new technologies. And goal of Green Ship of the Future is working towards emission-free maritime transport, ambitious in the exploration and the use of new technologies, enabling innovation across maritime value chains. The core areas for road to emission-free maritime transport are future fuels, can be also be named as marine future fuels, increased appliance of energy efficient technologies, existing and new. And third one is decarbonization through digitization. So now we understand a little about the greenhouse gases, which is the main contribute for the greenhouse gases. So we will study regarding the causes, effects. So what are the factors influence and then the consequences. Greenhouse effect, the definition. It is a process by which radiations from the sun are absorbed by the greenhouse gases and not reflected back into the space, that is, the heat is trapped. And this insulates the surface of the earth and prevents it from freezing. Global warming definition is a gradual increase in the earth's temperature, generally due to the greenhouse effect caused by increased levels of carbon dioxide, CFCs, and other pollutants. So the effect of the greenhouse effect is leading to global warming. Greenhouse effect, some of the infrared radiations passes through the atmosphere, but most is absorbed and re-emitted in all directions by clouds and greenhouse gas molecules. The effect of this warms the Earth's surface and lowers atmosphere. 6 major points of the greenhouse effect. Number 1, the sun's radiation travels to the earth. Number 2, atmosphere half is reflected or absorbed by clouds and the atmosphere. So number 3, the rest reaches the earth where it is absorbed by land or ocean. 4, the earth also releases heat back towards the space. And some of this heat passes directly to the space. The sixth one is, but most of it's captured and retained by the greenhouse gases. So just see the image of the covering the 6 points of the greenhouse effect. This is the point number 1. Point number 2 and the point number 3, 4, 5 and the 6. So 6 points, the major points for the greenhouse effect. What are greenhouse gases? They have far-ranging environmental and health effects. They cause climate change by trapping heat, and they also contribute to respiratory disease from smog and air pollution, extreme weather, food supply disruptions, and increased wildfires are other few effects caused by greenhouse gases. Please see the image. So we will be seeing the image in the next slide. Greenhouse gases are the gases that absorbs the infrared radiation and create a greenhouse effect like CO2 and CFCs, chlorofluorocarbons. And carbon dioxide is the primary cause for greenhouse effect. Composition of greenhouse gases are carbon dioxide 56%, methane 18%, chlorofluorocarbons 13%, ozone 7%, and nitrous oxide 6%. You can see the image regarding to the percentage and the composition of the greenhouse gases. And as we have said, greenhouse gases such as carbon dioxide is the primary cause for the greenhouse effect. The main man-made greenhouse gases, and they are the carbon dioxide. It is the primary greenhouse gases, responsible for about 3/4 of emission, approximately 65%. Methane, the main component of natural gas, 16% is released from landfills, natural gas and petroleum industries and agriculture, especially from the digestive systems of grazing animals. Nitrous oxide, it occupies a relatively small share of global greenhouse gas emissions, about 6%. And industrial gases, fluorinated gases such as hydrofluorocarbons, perfluorocarbons, chlorofluorocarbons, sulfur hexafluoride, and nitrogen trifluoride. These all these have heat trapping potentials thousands of times greater than the carbon dioxide and stay in the atmosphere for 100 to 1000 years, accounting for about 2% of all emissions. So basically all these are used as refrigerants, solvents, and in manufacturing, and occur as a byproducts. Other greenhouse gas include water vapor and ozone. Water vapor is actually the world's most abundant greenhouse gas, but not directly by human activity, and its effects are not well understood. Tropospheric ozone, kindly not to be confused with the protective stratospheric ozone layer higher up, is not emitted directly but emerges from complex reactions among pollutants in the air. Humans are increasingly influencing the climate and the Earth's temperature by man-made activities like burning fossil fuel, cutting down forest and farming livestock, And this adds enormous amounts of greenhouse gas to those naturally occurring in the atmosphere, increasing the greenhouse effect and global warming. So here you can see an image, greenhouse effect, man-made activities such as burning fossil fuels and deforestation have caused a jump in the concentration of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. The result being extra trapped heat and higher global temperatures. So the image on the left hand side you can see as greenhouse effect with normal greenhouse gas, and the one on the right hand side, greenhouse effect with increased greenhouse gases. Global greenhouse gas emission by gases. So carbon dioxide through the man-made activities, fossil fuel and the industrial process share about 65%. Same carbon dioxide through the forestry and other land use, it's about 11%. Methane covers about 16%. Nitrous oxide 6%. And industrial gases are also known as fluorinated gases, shares about 2%. Greenhouse gas emissions by the country. Since the start of the Industrial Revolution, more than 2,000 billion tons of carbon dioxide have been released into the atmosphere by human activities, according to the Global Carbon Project. North America and Europe are responsible for approximately half of that total, while the emerging companies of China and India have contributed another 14%. And for the remainder, 150 plus countries, they share the responsibility. So greenhouse gas emissions by the country. So as of this analysis, China shares around 30%, and then followed by the United States 15%, and then by the European Union with the 28 member states shares about 9%. India contributes to about 7%. Russian Federation 5%. Japan 4%. And all the countries share about 30%. An analysis of carbon dioxide emissions by country today shows that China now leads the pack, responsible to about 27 to 30% of all emissions. And next coming the United States to about 15%, and the European Union, 28 member states, including the United Kingdom, they contribute about 9 to 10%, and the remaining 7% has been contributed by the India. Together, these global powers account for almost 60% of all emissions. Causes of greenhouse gases: burning of fossil fuels, deforestation due to cutting of trees, and farming due to nitrous oxide used in farming. Industrial waste and landfill produces harmful gases, and these harmful gases are nothing but the fluorinated gases which are released in the atmosphere, and landfills also release carbon dioxide and methane. And the main effects of greenhouse gases are global warming, depletion of ozone layer, smog and air pollution, acidification of water bodies, and runaway greenhouse effect. Global warming, it is a phenomenon of a gradual increase in the average temperature of the Earth's atmosphere and which is mainly caused by the carbon dioxide, or you can name it as a greenhouse gases. And depletion of ozone layer, second one, the effect of greenhouse gases. The depletion will lead to entry of harmful UV rays to the earth surface that may lead to skin cancer and also change in the climate change drastically. Major causes are carbon dioxide, chlorofluorocarbons, and these CFCs are nothing but the refrigerants which have been banned by the IMO, methane, etc. Smog and air pollution, combination of smog and fog. It can be caused both by natural means and man-made activities. Smog is formed by the accumulation of more greenhouse gas, including nitrogen and sulfur oxides. So major contributors are automobiles, industrial emissions, agriculture, fires, natural forest fires, and reaction of these chemicals among themselves. And with regarding to the sulfur oxides and nitrogen oxides, so there are the developments of retrofitting in order to reduce the nitrous oxide. And as of IMO, Jan 1st, 2020, the sulfur content throughout the global has been reduced to about 0.5% in the non-ECA areas, and in the ECA areas to 0.1%. Acidification of water bodies, increase in the total number of greenhouse gas in the air has turned most of the water bodies to acidic, and greenhouse gas mixed with rainwater will lead to acid rain, leading to acidification of water bodies. Runaway greenhouse effect. This phenomenon occurs when the planet absorbs more radiation that it can radiate back. Thus, the heat loss from the Earth's surface is less, and this causes the temperatures of the planet keep rising. So this is one of the main effect, runaway greenhouse effect for the global warming. So with this, I will be ending up the session, and thanks for watching the video, Green Ship Part 1. And in the next Green Ship Part 2, I'll be covering the consequences of greenhouse effect, factors influencing the greenhouse effect, and the black carbon, and monitoring emission targets, greenhouse effect solution, and adaptation. So I request everyone of you all kindly give the feedback. Thanks for watching the video. Thank you.